Nusaybah bint Kab, her kunya, Imarah or Amarah, and I've seen in one report Ummaro, so whichever one comes to mind, was someone born and raised in Medina. She belonged to the noble tribe of Banu Najjar. She had two brothers, Abdullah and Abdurrahman, who both also actively contributed to the growth of the Ummah with all that they had, alongside their sister Nusaybah bint Ka'b. Nusaybah reverted to Islam, or she was obviously of the idol worshipping. That was the early religion, the time of ignorance, the religion of the ignorant people was what she practiced at the time before she became a Muslim. Incidentally, when the pledge of Aqaba was taken, there were 75 residents of Medina that took that pledge, of which only two were women. She was one of those women. SubhanAllah. Why would, at that time, think of the numbers. Were there other women living in Medina? Were there other notable companions of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam at that time? How come it was a ratio of 70 to 2, 73 men and only two women? If you were living in that time, would you be one of those two women, or would you be one of the hundreds of other women that stayed back? I'm sure, knowing me that I know, I'm sure I would have been a Nusaybah, subhanAllah, because I believe I'm someone that questions, oh, why should it be them? Why not me? Why can't he do? Why can't I do? How is he able to defend Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Why can't I defend as well? Why is he able to contribute to the growth through dawah works? Why can't I do? That's my mentality, and I imagine that is saying that would have been Nusaybah bint Ka'b thinking, why should I be relegated to sitting and waiting around and watching? I have the energy, I have the zeal, I'm sure that I can impact. I'm sure that's what drove her to be in the front line and joined some three other men to take that pledge of Aqaba with directly from Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now we can refer to that history. And I'm sure that alone led to more women coming out of their shell. I think for me, what it tells me is there is nothing written cast in stone that a woman's role is in the background. She has proven that wrong, right? Nusaybah, one of only two women that took the pledge of Aqaba amongst hundreds of women that lived at that time, tells us that, and the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not deny her giving her the pledge. It seals it for me. So women are allowed to take this frontline seat. They are allowed to be in the forefront. So I think for me, Nusaybah is a role model that, I am happy to emulate from all angles, inshallah. As much as I would love to be as graphic as though I was there at the war front, from the text that we've read and the stories that we've read, I would love to recreate graphically how that scene played out. I mean, subhanAllah, you're talking about a woman holding a shield and sword. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is right here. She's seen, at Battle of Uhud is when we almost lost it, right? We had fallen men, left, right, and center. We had people departing from the war front out of fear for their lives. So people were fleeing, men were falling, and the life of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam obviously was threatened. And she was there. She was the nurse on duty at the initial stage. But she's also known for her sword skills. So this was not someone that was just a pushover. She was, just like today, you will train your girl child to learn taekwondo. You will send your girl child to be a military personnel, and then she maybe retires to being a doctor or whatever it is. So it's the same mindset. So this woman was trained, perhaps by her father. She already had the knowledge of using the sword, and she was good at it. Now imagine her in that situation. She knows she has the skill. She knows she has the bravery. But subhanAllah, would she just let it slide because the mentality is women are not supposed to. The war front is for the men only. Women, you keep yourselves as this and as that, the certain defined roles. And so she will just stick with it. That was not Nusaybah Bint. Nusaybah took the opportunity. She saw the whole essence was fight for the deen, fight for Islam, right? The essence was win the battle for Islam. The essence was support Nabi of Islam, protect the life of the Prophet. And she knew she had the skill to do that. She didn't wait to be told and brought forward. She took up the shield, protected Nabi, held the sword in her hand, and went straight on into the battlefield. And so obviously that sight alone, I think what it did for our brothers on the battlefield was to energize them. It was a thing that must have ticked off some bells in their head. If she can do it, why am I down here? So whatever pains any of these men were feeling at that time, I'm sure they would have shook their head and thought, if Nusaybah is right there in the front line, I want to be right there. SubhanAllah, I should be right there. We should be the one protecting her, not the other way around. So I'm sure she energized our brothers and rejuvenated them and got them moving. SubhanAllah, if there's even an account that describes her and two of her sons on the battlefield. They were all together on the battlefield. And when one of them was struck, she went and, encouraged him, get up, fight till the very last. You have to, stick till the end. Use all the strength you have. It's not like you're struck, yes, your leg is almost gone and you're in so much pain. And the right thing to do is to find help, get a nurse to tend to your wounds. No, that was not Nusaybah. Get up and continue fighting until you drop dead on that field. You don't give up, subhanAllah. That was the energy of Nusaybah Bint. So you cannot read such story and not feel energized as a woman. You can't read that story and not feel empowered. She was an empowering figure in Islam, both for the women and the men as well. SubhanAllah, you're talking about a woman who herself on the battlefield suffered 12 injuries, wounds, and she kept on fighting. What's she telling her son? She was not a talker, she was a doer. Do you understand? So she and her sons are on the battlefield. They can see their mother heavily wounded, and naturally she'll recoil and sit somewhere and wait for help to come. But no, she kept fighting. That alone is enough message to the children. So they didn't see a weak mother, they saw a warrior. They saw a trainer. So she herself was the role model to her own sons. And so when one of her sons was wounded, she, attended to the wounds by herself and sent him back. Get up, son. Get back there. Get back into the fighting mode. You have no business sitting here. SubhanAllah, that was the kind of mother. And what does that tell you about parenting? Maybe you have people that you talk to. Maybe you are a deliberate, an intentional parent, for example, who actually trains herself and then trains the children based on training you've got. The easiest learning that you take from this is that children learn by watching. It's not do as I say, it's a do as I do thing. So sometimes you don't even need to say anything. It will just be natural. It will come naturally. So this was a mother who, when the children found her on the battlefield herself, in person, he didn't need any further announcement or, what shall I say, encouragement. That was all the encouragement they needed. They saw her right there on the battlefield. What should we learn from these as parents? It means that you can't give what you don't have. It means you have to invest in yourself. You have to grow yourself, grow your deen, grow yourself. If you've chosen a career path, be good at it. She was good with the sword. So it means if she needed to learn, if she needed to relearn, if she needed to go for training, she had done it, which was what made her the best at what she did. And naturally, she would have transferred those skills to her children as well. You know how many times you send your children to madrasa, but you yourself can barely recite Surah Al-Fatiha correctly with tajweed till the end, giving each haraka its due right. You can't do it, but then you push your children to madrasa, and then they learn, they come back home. You can't even do muraja with them. You can't give what you don't have. So I think the lesson for us from that, you might see it as unconnected. SubhanAllah, wallahi, there's so much connection in it. You can't give what you don't have. So how about you invest in yourself, empower yourself? You send the children to madrasa. There's also adult education. Get on course, get online. If you feel too shy to sit in class, get online. There are so many online resources where you can learn about the deal. Stop being an empty barrel. Empty barrels will not there's nothing for you to transfer. And we need a strong Ummah. At the moment, how do I describe us? And I say us because it's the entirety of the Ummah. We're just a foam on the sea. We are so weak because we have refused to empower ourselves. Knowledge is power. If we don't have the knowledge, you cannot give. You can't give what you don't have. So I think the key lesson for us is to go back, invest in ourselves. Once we've done that, we're able to transfer, natural transfer to those that we're raising, kids, our spouses, and whoever else. Let me quickly take us back to when she took the pledge of Aqaba and imagine that lineup of, you can visualize it, 73 men on a queue and just two women. As the man, both thoughts are going through your head at that point in time. You're looking at your mother at home, your sisters, your wives, and you're thinking, I hope that what you're thinking at that time of seeing Nusaybah standing beside you, trying to take the pledge, is that, oh, I have failed my women folk. Or what have I done? How come they are not the ones here? I hope that's the thought that's going through your mind. So you as a man who's not empowering your woman enough, who's not empowering your wife enough, who's not giving the relevant support to your mother and your girl child because you think they shouldn't be. You think that they should be confined to the other room or the kitchen. If that is all that you think a woman is meant for, have a rethink. Go and learn about the Nusaybah bint Ka'b. See the kind of person that Allah made her. She was a blessing to the Ummah. In fact, she went ahead to be a da'iyah because she raised a lot of women and she trained women. She taught them the deen. And subhanAllah, we are where we are today because we have the likes of the Nusaybah bint Ka'b to learn from, to glean from our history and empower ourselves. I hope that that alone is sufficient wake-up call for you as a man to do something about women folk in your household, your wives, your daughters, your mothers. How have you left them? With what I know about Nusaybah bint Ka'b from her stories, I think that, subhanAllah, Nusaybah will hold conferences. Nusaybah will have training houses. Nusaybah will be, she probably owns schools or be a proprietress in schools because she's desirous of raising resilient, strong women. And so she'll have classes for mothers, she'll have classes for children, she'll have training sessions because she's a warrior and she'll have training sessions. She'll probably have, training schools where she's raising fellow warriors and empowering them. I'm sure the first thing she'll tell a mother that walks through her class is, what do you have to offer? Because she wants to fill your cup. So she wants to know what you have. How much are you coming with? How empty are you? So that she can help build you from inside out. Because if she didn't have that inner strength, let me give you a quick flashback. If she didn't have that inner strength, when at Battle of Uhud, when the counter-attack hit us, when initially we had the upper hand, we Muslims had the upper hand, and the coin flipped so quickly, and she was there tending to the wounded soldiers. It was not an inner strength. She will stay there. But because she had that energy, that zeal, that bravery, she took up the sword. Because she has it, she's able to pour into several cups. And so if Nusaybah was living with us today, subhanAllah, she would raise tons of Queen Aminas for Nigeria. She would raise brilliant minds. She would raise the best of the doctors. She would raise the best of nurses. She would raise frontline army generals across board. That is who Nusaybah will be if she was with us today.